Hey y'all, hey.
Hey peeps.
How y'all doing today?
Hope everybody is surviving this quarantine. That's been about what, 6-7 weeks now, Leash?
Child, listen, it's a long time. It's a long time. It's a long time.
I know. This has become our normal, really.
Right. It really has. I wonder how I might have to go into it. So we're just gonna get started in a few minutes. We're gonna start some watch parties here.
Okay. I got it up on my Facebook. Did I?
All right, so let's see.
And will you be the only ones to see people coming in, Leash?
No, we can see them on the live.
Okay.
And only let me do it in a group. Let me see what this will do. All right, so I got a watch party started. So I don't need this.
Okay.
And we get our YouTube up. All right, so I got a watch party started. All right. And let me get YouTube so I can see it.
Okay.
All right. All right. Hey, y'all. Hey, so we just waiting for Tunisha.
I see her.
Okay. Hold on. We got echo somewhere.
All mine are down. There you go.
Hey, how are you?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear us?
You can hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. But do you still hear the echo?
Yeah, it's a little bit of echo in the room. Is your
I have tall ceilings.
Oh, okay. That's all right. We can work around
Do you still hear it?
a little bit.
Probably because, wait a minute. Let me turn this Bluetooth off. Maybe that's it.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
Let
y'all.
me remember how to do that. I don't use my laptop for this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 1 second.
Hey y'all, hey, we see y'all pouring in here. Now remember, we just started this new way of doing things. So you guys are gonna have to post in the chat in the little box so that we can shout y'all out, be able to see y'all. Welcome, 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 y'all, to Let's Chat Live. We got an echo going on. We got some feedback.
Can you hear it? You
Yes.
got feedback still?
Mhm.
Okay.
So we want you guys to just bear with us. This is all still new to Lissha and I, especially to me. You know, Lissha is the technical part of this duo. So, but I think I'm set.
Hey,
So
y'all.
how
Hey,
is it?
how
How
are
is it?
you? It's good now. Really good.
Okay, good.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank
Welcome to our
you.
Let's Chat Live. You are our first 2020 Let's Chat Live interview. We appreciate you because I know you are busy. And you made time for us. I know you got an interview today as well. For all of those that don't know who you are really dope in real life. Let me tell y'all.
Oh,
Tell
thank you.
everybody a little bit about yourself and your literary and media journey.
Yeah, so hi everybody. I'm Tanisha Brown. I'm the founder, editor-in-chief of Impact Magazine. Been doing this magazine for over 13 years. And our mission is to empower, encourage, and educate our readers. Um, all things Black folks, basically. Black folks with excellence, because we see so many negative things in the media. I took it upon myself to start showing great people, great things that go on in our community. Yes, we have some dysfunctional things, but
Right.
the majority,
Mhm.
the majority of time when I grew up with amazing teachers who looked like me. I grew up in an amazing neighborhood, so I wanted to reflect what I saw. And I started out with 75 readers, which 50 of them was my family. And now we have thousands, like 100,000 readers. Like, it just amazes me how many people come across the magazine and just really, really love it. So I just appreciate everybody who love it. I appreciate the relationships I have and grown, how the magazine has grown.
Absolutely. Now, we always ask our guests this because to me, it's really, really important whenever you are making moves, bold moves in the dark, as we call it here on Let's Chat, and you are manifesting and pushing out your vision to the masses. You always have a goal moment. There's always that point in time. We always are mindful of how we speak to other people, but we're not very mindful of how we treat and speak to ourselves. And we
Right,
tend to talk ourselves out of a lot of things. It'll be a thought and it'll be like, nah, I can't do that. Nah, I don't have time. It's always we giving ourselves excuses on why we can't do something. Uh,
right.
so what was your goal moment? Like that moment where thought and execution came together and you was like, I'm gonna do this.
It was, and just like you said, it was a thought that hit me. I used to be into church like really, really heavy. And I was in church and it came to me like, what message can you give for people who won't ever walk into these church doors? How can you inspire that person? What can you do? And I used to do the newsletter in the church, and people used to love the graphics and the stories because I wouldn't talk about regular things. Like I would talk about thought-provoking things, just like I do now. And they loved the graphics, they loved everything. And so that's when I started the magazine. But before I did, I researched the business. And that gave me that drive, like, you can really do this. I researched John Johnson from Ebony Magazine to figure out the way that, he grew up and, just what made a Black man decide to come out with a magazine that dealt with community and love of family and all those things. And then I researched Susan L. Taylor, and in that time she was getting Essence together, and I wanted to know about her. I was a single mother, she was a single mom, so I wanted to figure out from her, how was she able to deal with being a mom and building such a conglomerate as Essence magazine. So those were my go-to moments where I saw people that looked like me, that was doing it and came from, the street, just, came from the hood, just like I did.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So, what was that process like when you had to do your first interview and cover of your magazine? Tell us about. I just want you to go back to the grassroots of it when it started. How was that? What was that process like for you putting that together and laying it out?
So it was amazing. First of all, it was amazing, and people didn't even. This is why I tell people, no matter if somebody believe in what you're doing or not, you continue to move forward in everything that you do. Because I would tell, I went to the people and they were like, what is this for? One guy, that was on, I wanted on the cover, he was so like shocked that I chose him, because it was a group of guys. And now this is 13 years ago, before the barbershops and cutting hair for free for the kids was popular.
Right.
And his name is Bill. And I went to him and I said, listen, I want to put you on the cover of the magazine. And he was like blown away. He wanted his whole group, because it was a group of guys that he owned the barbershop with, that he wanted them in the story too. And I said, that's fine, we can put them on the inside, but let me I need to highlight you, and it was a double cover actually. And it was just amazing just to see how he responded and how he took it serious, because everybody didn't, in my first like journey of getting the magazine out, everybody didn't take it serious. But me, I've always been that person, whereas if I'm going to put something out there, it's going to be my all. So
Absolutely.
it was like, even the second, like I did every magazine, I always do a release party. And I told y'all, like, I had 75 people come, and 50 was my family. And one of the girls there, like her boyfriend, like they really, like they didn't take it serious. Like, but then as people saw me going around the country and releasing it and putting out more magazines, and it just growing and growing and growing, they like, oh wow. And then I left from Jersey and came here to Georgia, and it just, people are just still like, wow, because they knew when I started, and knew how those graphics was horrible, because I was doing them myself.
Right.
But I did good up until,
but you know what? You gotta do what you gotta listen. You gotta do what you gotta do when you birthing your thing out there. So ain't nothing wrong with it.
And when it got to a point where I was starting to get like celebrities on the cover and stuff, I knew I had to up my game, because now it's like I have to up my game. I gotta up it. And even like now I'm in this process, even during this time, like, okay, how can you up your game? With this magazine, like we need to, do some other things, to up the game and up the ante in the brand.
Absolutely.
Now, this is Toni and Tanisha. I want to ask you, because as you were sharing your journey with us, it got me to thinking about the magazines that I used to read back in the day, like Essence and Ebony and Jet. Now, as you were reading those and growing up with those, was there something that was missing that you felt that you needed, and that's was the birth of you starting Impact Magazine, because you found
Right.
something that you didn't see?
Right. I didn't see the community, you
Okay.
know. I didn't see the people who were doing the work in the community.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so for years, and I started getting back to that now, like doing known unknown folk, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because we have those people in the community that's known
That's right.
for doing amazing work,
Right.
but they're not known nationally, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing that I saw that was missing, and I wanted to add that component. So even though there's a celebrity on the cover, all of my magazines for the past 13 years, it could be a celebrity on the cover, but inside is filled of people who are doing the work. They could be
Yep.
known celebrities, or they could be known unknown folks in the community.
Mm-hmm. With
Absolutely.
that being said, I'm sorry, but with that being said, Tanisha, because they were like unknown, but you had certain people on the cover, how was the reception to the people that got the magazine? To the, were they receptive of the unknown? To make
Yeah, that's what they come to us for. You
okay.
know, that's the difference in a magazine letting people know what they're about. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Okay.
or our mission is to highlight ordinary people living extraordinary lives.
Right.
So if that's what you're into, that's what you're gonna come to us for. Because
Okay.
we're gonna highlight, we're gonna give you celebrity stories and
Mm-hmm.
our intake on that. But we also got some people out here that are doing great and doing some mighty things in the community, and that's why people gravitate to us, you know.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And now, is that where you got the title Impact? Because those people are making an impact on lives. How did you come up with that?
Right. That just like, that's exactly what it was.
Okay.
I was like, I'm going to name it Impact. And I'm like, I just knew, it just was in me. Like, I knew what I wanted to do. Like,
Mhm.
I went to a couple of my friends and I said, listen, I know what I'm about to do is huge.
Right.
And either you're going to get on this merry-go-round or you're going to get off, you know? And that's exactly what I said. I never forget. I had them all in the room because I'm always trying to put people on, you know, with me that I know, you know? And I was like, y'all going to either get on or you going to get off this merry-go-round, but I'm going to keep on going, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I always knew it was going to be Impact Magazine. I just knew it. And it took me a year to get it all together. I started in 2007, and then it took me a year. I just wanted it to be right, you know?
Right.
And then my brother died in the mix of all of that, and I wasn't going to do it. And then it just hit me like a can of paint, you know, like he was very supportive of what I was doing, and he would never want me to not continue what I started, and just kept
Absolutely.
on going, and you know, just kept it moving.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Now I do have a question. Oh, I got a little echo. I'm trying to see why I'm echoing now. Let me see what we got going on. Does I still got an echo? A
I
little.
don't hear it.
Say something, Lee.
Can you hear it now?
No.
Not. It's better.
That's better?
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a question, because how have you grown from 2007 into now as a businesswoman and as a woman in general? How have you grown?
Number one, I've grown it twofold, because you asked me as a woman and then me in this business. Me as a woman have grown to think of me first, you know. For years I put this business ahead of me. It didn't hit me in my head until my son went away to college, and I was looking around like, what are you going to do? And then I was like, what do you mean, what are you going to do? You got a whole big magazine. What do you mean? Like, it's like, but the question wasn't what I was going to do far as the magazine, the question was what I was going to do, you know, for me.
Right.
So growing was that portion was to put me, you know, think about me first, put me first, and that's how I grew as a woman. Now with the magazine, oh God, I grow from that every day, just learning and understanding what to do, how to move. What I learned from 2018 to now is my core people really want to see people out here on the cover, people who are you know, magnify them, you know, put them on the map like, you know, these celebrities are, you know. So those are the things where, and that's where I started at, you know. And then when I did, Kelly Price was my first cover celebrity in 2009 or 10. So it only took me like a year or two to get a celebrity on the cover. It wasn't hard, you know, because I was putting out consistent content.
Right.
And as long as you have consistent content, it's going to be out there.
Right.
And so just every day is a learning experience with the magazine. But what I do know is the person, the extraordinary person is who they want to see. And that's the thing, that's the key thing that took me back to when I first started.
Absolutely. Now, you just recently wrote a book. Tell us a little bit about that process.
Oh, let me show the cover. Wait a minute now. Wait a minute. Wait.
Yes, let's see. Let's see. I told y'all she dope in real life.
It's called wait, can you see it?
Yes.
Oh, I like
It's called
that.
I've Got the Tea That Will Get Me to the Juice.
Oh.
Yeah. And so when my son went off to this sun is like really hitting me. I love where I am, and you know, the sunset and child, it's a whole little vibe. But when my son went to college, you know, and I went through all that and getting to know me, I had a conversation with him at school, and he was talking about, you know, he was talking about life and how he was not getting from life what he was putting in. And I said to him, I said, what are you talking about? You don't know who you are. I said, because number one, you would not be asking those questions or have that feeling, because number one, you're a procrastinator. Number two, you're a lazy person. So if you know you're lazy in this area, but you a go-getter in this area, you only know that by knowing yourself. And you can't be mad at life because you're not getting the things that you want in this area, but you're not putting everything in this area like you're doing that. You don't know who you are. And so as I'm going to him, it clicked to me, how many people are like that? You were like that for so many years. So how many people don't actually know who they are, where they're going, what they have to do in this time?
Right.
Not who you were before, yesterday, but right now in this time, you don't know who you are in this time, especially if you're judging off of your past.
That's right. That's right.
You know, so that's where the book came from. And it's a guidebook. It's 100 pages of getting to know who you are and then putting a plan in place to implement what you want to do moving forward.
And what was that writing process like for you? Because it's different laying out a magazine opposed to laying out a book. How was that process for you? And what was the most memorable time that sticks with you through the whole thing?
It was just, it took me like a weekend. I'm a writer. So, and I knew what I wanted to write. It just kept coming to me, you know, what I wanted to share with people, because I drew off of my own experience, you know? So it was way different than writing for the magazine, because it's talking about getting to know who you are. The magazine is just, I write on a subject, but I don't write about myself. So I just took some stories about is the tea, which everybody wants the tea, everybody, and the tea is the truth of who you are, because that's what the tea is supposed to be, the truth. And the juice is basically the goal. So I've got the tea that will get me to the juice. We all have the tea on ourselves that will get us to the goal, but we have to know who we are first in order to achieve those things. So
absolutely.
Yeah, that's where it came from. And I talk about in there, what's the game plan? There's levels to this. I'm stuck on that point right now. And every Sunday, I do a video to teach on a lesson from the book, and I put it out there. And I'm stuck on there's levels to this, because we all want to get to that level of, oh, I'm making six figures, I'm making $10,000 a day, or because we're in that time of day where we could do that, but are we prepared for it? A lot of us are not prepared. I wasn't prepared for a lot of things, like putting this book out and it's doing what it's doing, and we get so excited and we want to put it out there, but you just have to get it together. I see so many people, oh, y'all, they have so many businesses out and it's blowing up because that's what you want. That's what you're working for. But then they get on there and curse out their people because their shipping is backed up and all of but you need to plan and prepare for that, and you can't expect people to be so patient with you when you didn't plan for it or you're not communicating with them, so I'm stuck on that part of the book. There's levels to this. So another lesson is going to come from that. This Sunday, I'm making a video for that. So
absolutely, like Ricky Smiley say, what you ask for?
Yeah.
What you ask for? You ask for this. A lot of times
you ask for it. Now you can't handle it.
Yeah, a lot of times we ask for things. We ask for our creativity to be unleashed. We ask for our businesses to be efficient. We ask for expansion. We ask for enlargement. We're asking for all of these things, and we're asking to be positioned. But once you get positioned, positioning comes with certain responsibilities and things that come with that. And so this is what you actually literally ask for, and you have to maneuver, because all of that is part of the growth process of getting where you want to be. Now, doing this COVID, this 2020 pandemic, as they call it, that we're experiencing, how have you grown your brands in itself, because you started doing lives? So tell us about that process and what made you say, okay, this is what we're going to do to move this thing forward during this time.
I ain't had no choice. I had no choice. You have to, what the word they're saying right now is pivot. And see, a lot of our stuff we did was in person, like our event. We are events, we're event driven.
Yeah.
We had, we'll put out stories in the magazine, on social media, but people come to us and get like the hard copy magazine and have the experience. So now it's like, okay, you can't get nobody to know any experiences in person. So now you have to adjust and pivot, and how can you pivot? Because only went live when I never went live with an interview, like only like once or twice. I think I interviewed David Banner before, and I went live a little bit with that, but I would never like go live with an interview or anything like that. And now I'm doing it. And for the month of April, I did like 30 interviews and it wore me out. So now I'm doing for May, like 1 or 2 a week. So yeah, so in pivoting, we start doing more live interviews. And that way people are able to get to know me
Mm-hmm.
because I ain't want them to get to know me, but now
Right.
they got to get to know me.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I'm a very private person. If you follow me on Facebook or whatever, I don't share too much about myself. It's like, here's my work. And, that's what I do. And then I'll be home, but in order right now, people want to know who, what, when, why, where, and I do branding from time to time for people and I let them know that. But then it's something different when the mirror is staring right back at you and you
Mm-hmm.
have to do those things. So, yeah, so live interviews now, and that's our biggest thing for adjusting. No, we did a little mini conference about chargebacks and everything like that for entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
Just because right now in this day and time, we are doing more things digitally. So I
Right.
wanted to speak to the entrepreneurs about protecting themselves. I had my lawyer on talking about contracts, so different things like that, but no more virtual events for us. No. I'm just sticking with the putting out the content, letting people get an understanding of who we are, trusting, and also getting them involved with my book.
Something
Absolutely.
I also want to add that during this pandemic, a lot of people has touched into their creativity. I mean, I see it from the youngest to the oldest. They're putting out content that they wouldn't normally put out. So I think on the other side of this pandemic, we're going to see a whole different world. Even
Right,
with manufacturers that are so steady in doing one thing, when you look at what's being created overseas and things that we need now, I think a lot of people are going to start doing, why can't we do this here made in the USA? And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of entrepreneurs are being born as a result of this pandemic because they see
right,
a need and that these needs are being filled, or even needs that we didn't know that we needed are being filled. So I think it's going to
right.
be a totally different world when we go back to our quote unquote norm,
That's
that it's
right.
not going to be a normal anymore, but we're going to set
Yeah,
a new normal.
that's why I always say to people, like with my book, yesterday is gone. It's
That's
like,
right.
it's who are you in this time?
Right.
Who are you at this moment in this time?
Hmm.
Yeah, this is our new normal.
That's right.
Know what I mean? A lot of people, I've been working from home with this magazine for 7 years, but a lot of people weren't exposed to that or knew that they could work from home
Right.
or think that they could be home and be productive. But
Mhm.
all you
Right.
have to do is put your mind to it and do it.
Right.
That's right.
So this new normal, and then pressure always pulls. So people are having the pressure on them to pull out what it is that's in them
Right.
to help them make an income, to help them cope right about now for so many things. Like they want to be a part, they want to help the nurses, they want to help all this. So people are being put pulled in this time that's
Mhm.
going to help them move forward in this this next stage of life that we're going walking into.
I
Right.
agree. Now, if you had to drop five jewels on someone that wanted to go into the media, they wanted to put their magazine out, they wanted to put a book out, they wanted to start a business. What five jewels would you drop on them just in that process that you have learned?
I'll say research number one. Research the best, the greats. When I came out with the magazine, only two people I knew at the time that had the biggest black magazines were John Johnson and Susan L. Taylor.
Mhm.
Research them, research their woes, their home life, all of those things incorporated into one.
Mhm.
About your finances. How are you going to be able to um, how you gonna pay for this? You
Mm-hmm.
can't go and be woe is me, ain't nobody supporting me. No, you need to, this is your dream. It's not
Mhm.
your uncles, it's not your sisters, it's not your friend. This is your dream. So you need to be able to fund your dream.
Right.
Number three is be confident in who you are and what you do. Because people will come and tell you how you should be doing it, even though they ain't walking out doing it themselves. You know, be confident. Be confident in what you do. And if God gave it to you, then that's what you're supposed to do. Keep the main thing the main thing. If God told you to do it this way, you do it. Not be so in the heavenlies where God said this type of people, but understand where you're going with the vision that He did give you. God gave man knowledge. So He's going to bring people to you to help you. Be open with all of that to receive what they gave you. And my last one is to always be humble. Always. I've made so many strides within 13 years with this business that I've built relationships. I've done some things that people would never believe, and been in rooms that a girl from Trenton, New Jersey, you would never believe it. It is because I'm a humble person and I respect relationships.
That's right.
So those are the jewels I will give to people.
I love it. I love it. So what's next? What's next for Tanisha? What is next for Impact? I know when I tell people, y'all, listen, when I say she's dope in real life, she is absolutely dope in
thank
real
you.
life. So I'm like, what is next? So I know your mind is churning on what's to come.
Well, what's next is basically getting more people to understand who we are. And I'm good with that. I've been doing a lot of work for the past 13 years. And right now, I really, really, really want to get into getting the people to understand who we are. And they love the graphics, they love the events, but get to know who Impact Magazine is. And far as me, my book, I want to do, once outside opens back up, I'm going to do a tour, go to the different cities and talk about the tea. Put some of my experiences, that I've had in this world and in this business and within these 13 years, and speak about it with the book. And I want to go on a little tour with that. I'm gonna be doing a lot of work in the West Coast, and developing a new little TV show. So I got a couple of things up my sleeve that I'm working on. Yeah. That's what's next with me, trying to do a tour, getting people to a whole nother level of Impact Magazine, as far as getting people to know who we are and what we do.
Absolutely. I love it. Now here on Let's Chat, we love to have fun with our guests. I really believe that we have to be able to, that's part of your packaging. It's part of your eye candy. It's part of the packaging of your brand. Your brand has to have a face. It has to have a home. And so when we do these interviews with our guests, we love to be able to allow our listeners and our viewers to be able to experience that person, their brand, and that draws people in. So we like to do fun questions. So Tia is going to give you a fun question. She's real good at them. She's real good at them, y'all. Trust me.
Okay, Tanisha. First of all, thank you so much for joining Lissha and I on our first live across all our platforms. We know that you're busy, so we appreciate your time.
Thank you.
But I have been really feeling my cow riddle. So I'm going to give you a riddle, okay? So the riddle is, there were 30 cows on a farm, 28 chickens. How many didn't?
Say it again.
Okay, there were 30 cows on a farm, 28 chickens. How many didn't?
How many didn't?
Mm-hmm. That's always the response I get when I ask this riddle.
30 chickens. Wait a minute. 30 chickens on the farm.
No, 30 cows on a farm.
30 cows on the farm.
28 chickens.
28 chickens.
How many didn't?
How many didn't? I have no clue. I can't even think right now. How many didn't?
Okay. Is that your final answer?
Yes, I have no clue.
Okay, you're going to kick yourself when you hear it. So there were 30 cows, and 20 cows ate chickens, so 10 didn't.
Lord have mercy.
Gotcha, Tunisha.
I'm like, how many didn't? What?
Didn't what?
I ain't even thinking about cows eat chicken. I knew the answer wasn't two.
But we
Like,
always get that response. Didn't what?
Oh God. But but we like to be able to just be fun and open up with our guests,
right.
because we can be real technical, even in writing. You know, we have a lot of authors that come on, and even in writing, you can be real technical and everything. And I think as adults, we forget our creativity and we forget that creative side, because we're in adult world is really technical. You know,
Right.
we think a certain way. So I love to be able to just round off our guests and just open them up. We love to make them laugh, allow them to make us laugh, and just be able to enjoy each other.
And they know that's that Let's Chat experience. They never know what they're going to get when they come on our show from us.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for having me.
You're very
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You are so very welcome. We so appreciate you coming to kick it with us. We want you to shout out all of your social media, where everybody can catch the magazine, where everybody can see you next, and your next interview, and who you're going to be interviewing, because I know you have an interview today.
Yeah, so today I'm interviewing David Banner on our Instagram page. It's Impact Magazine. You can go to our Instagram page, Impact Magazine, or you can follow me, Moments with Tunisha, Tunisha, or Impact Magazine, IMPACT Magazine. And the website is www.theimpactmagazine.com.
I love it. I love it. We so appreciate you. You are welcome back anytime.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
You have a great night.
You too.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
That was awesome, Leash.
Absolutely. I love her, y'all. When I say she's dope in real life, y'all, she really, really is. We so appreciate you guys coming to kick it with us for our Let's Chat Live this May 1st. Shout out to everybody that is tuning in here on Facebook and on YouTube. So we appreciate you guys for always supporting us. This is what it is, y'all. Y'all know that we love to take Let's Chat Live. This is, like she was saying, the new norm. And so this is definitely going to be our new norm, with being able to go live. I got a shout out, y'all. So listen. Ain't this cute? Author Stephanie Hardy. She's a children's author, and she created these masks, and she sent me 2 masks, and I want to shout out because this is so she knows I love purple. So she sent me 2 masks. Look, she sent me 2 masks. Ain't that gorgeous? I don't know. Nice. To the back screen. Yes, I love it. So shout out to Stephanie. Thank you. I love it. I love it. I love it. I appreciate it. She is Creative Junkie Couture. Stephanie F. Hardy. She is also a children's book author. Check her out. She just has a new book that dropped, Dancing Monkeys in My Soup. She is fabulous. She is fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. And I really appreciate her. Hey, Stephanie Alice, thank you so very much.
Go check her out, Leash. You know, we had her on one of our Sunday lives, and we had so much fun with her, you know. So make sure you check out our archives, because she gave us a great live interview one Sunday. I'm not sure if she was our first live Sunday, Leash, but
yeah,
she has such a sweet soul, and she has a great book. Make sure you check that book out.
Absolutely. So we've been in quarantine, but how long, guys? Right? Listen, we about over it. Our kids was over about weeks ago. So everybody is trying to do different things. They're trying to acclimate themselves and their new space to what life is for them right now in this moment. What are some of the things you guys have done as we wait for our next guest to come on? What are some of the things you guys have done to pull yourself through this quarantine? Like me, myself, I taught myself how to braid my hair. That's my new thing. Because I couldn't go get it braided. You have books dropping left and right. Shout out to Michel, Forbidden Fruit 7. I started reading that today. That dropped. Shout out to Saeed Salam. He has a book that dropped today. So authors are definitely pushing their pen. They're twerking their pen, as I say all the time. I always say twerking pens. But what are some of the things you guys are doing? What are some of the things that you guys are doing, whether it's teaching yourself something, taking a class? A lot of people are taking those free classes that are being offered at Harvard. What are some of the things that you guys were doing? Just drop them in the comments, and we want to be able to see some of the things that everybody is doing just to be able to expand and grow themselves during this quarantine.
Well, some of the things that I've done, and also this is a time to catch up on certain things because we're always outside the home working, hustling, doing whatever, that sometimes you neglect. You don't have time to do what you want to do in the house. So I've gotten caught up on some things, and I love to cook. So I've expanded my recipe repertoire. So I'm trying new recipes. That's one of the things that I have been doing, and I have a little bit, even though I'm still working, I work from home now. I still work, but I don't have to come home so late and start dinner. So I try to have dinner done because my husband and my daughter are what they call essential workers. So they still have to go out. So I'm home alone, and I'm just taking my recipes to another level. Can you believe that?
Listen, let me tell y'all about Toni, y'all. This wife 101 over here. Whenever she comes to Georgia, listen, my double oven is her double oven. Trust and believe that. I be excited. I get excited. Look, I get excited. Every new gadget I have in my kitchen is because of Toni. I'm not playing. Every new gadget is because of Toni. Yep.
So that's what, just catching up on things around the house. You just have that time. So you try to use it productively.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of times, especially during this time, we start learning a lot about ourselves. If we are in relationships, you start learning a lot about relationships. I was watching Red Table Talk, and Jada Pinkett Smith talked about how during this quarantine, her and Will actually learned that they didn't really know each other. They're like, wait a minute, where did you come from? Because you evolve. And I think a lot of times when we come together, we don't make room for change. We don't make room for that person to change. But if that person is still the same person they was back when, that's a problem. Everybody is going to evolve. Right. But we get so busy with the hustle and bustle that we don't pay attention. We're looking, but we're not looking. And then things start changing and people start changing. And then we sit down in times like this and realize, wow, really? And it's like a new person to us. And I think that a lot of times, especially during this quarantine, people are seeing where they get so busy in life where intimacy in a relationship has laxed. Relationships, intimacy with your children, being able to sit down and hang out with the kids, play games, play Uno, play Monopoly, play video games, whatever it is that we don't normally do on a regular basis. And I like to be able to highlight that because a lot of times especially when we look on the news, child, they want to highlight, people are drinking more and domestic violence is up. And those things are very serious and they are happening. But there are also things positive things that are happening too. You know, there's so many people on TikTok, and I think just stepping outside of your regular self, outside of your norm, that is a growth process. That's a growth process for all adults, for children too, but especially for adults, being able to step outside of your circle, step outside of your square, and you end up stepping out. And some people are stepping out and they are creating great creations like masks, or they are finding out that they are writers and they're writing books, and they're into music. A lot of musicians are changing their music. They're trying to, as Tanisha was talking earlier, pivot in the industry that they're in. So they're trying to learn how to help themselves to evolve, get through, and push through. And I think that's a great thing to be able to experience, especially in this time and age, that literally anything that you want to do, you can do.
Right.
The only person stopping you from doing anything is you.
Right.
If you want to learn how to do it, you might have to give yourself a skill to do it. You might have to practice. You might have to take a class. But literally anything you want to learn how to do, you can do. Anything you want to learn how to change and grow, you can learn how to change and grow. A lot of businesses are going to come out of this pandemic. If you go back to 1918, when it was the Spanish flu, a lot of millionaires came out of that. A lot of billionaires came out of that time, just being able to pivot and be innovative. And I think really making sure that we learn about ourselves and understand yourself. Pay attention. Now it's a sickness. And, you know, a lot of times when you get sick, we don't pay attention to our mental. We don't pay attention to our physical. We just say, oh, I feel sick. Okay, but now we have to start paying more attention to what exactly are we feeling.
Right.
Because we don't know. You could be sick and not know now. So it's like, what exactly am I feeling? You've never been depressed. So now it's like you got to pay attention to your kids. You got to pay attention to your spouse. You got to look for those signs that, okay, something is going on. You know, how am I feeling? How is this making me feel? Why am I feeling this way? You know, a lot of times we talk about this on Let's Chat. We don't ask ourselves why. If you're upset, you never ask yourself, why are you upset? You know, you just are upset. And so then we just react, but we never understand the intent behind the things that we do.
Right. And also that is a time for, like I was going to say, like I agree with self-awareness. You know, you got to know yourself. You got to know your, this is a time to learn your strengths and your weaknesses, and to dig deep and realize that, you know, I can do certain things or I can't do certain things. So I learn, like you said, but it's definitely a time of self-awareness as well as learning that there are other people out there that need help. And you can find it within yourself to help those others. You know, you start to take on tasks such as that. And I think that's a great thing. Even from the youngest, they see a need and they try to fulfill that need.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So we are waiting for our next guest. Welcome, 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 everybody that is tuning in on Facebook and on YouTube to Let's Chat Live. We appreciate you guys always rocking with us. Let's Chat Radio. If you would like to be a guest on Let's Chat, no worries. Just send your request to thechatradioshow@gmail.com. You can go over, make sure you like and share our Let's Chat channel on Facebook as well as on YouTube. You can see the replays of all the videos, all the interviews that we have. We are taking our catalog, which is probably about 2,000 shows. Me as the producer, I have to take that, turn it into content, and I'll be putting that on YouTube. So in that event that you have not tuned in to Let's Chat before, no worries. Just head over to our archives at blogtalk.com. You can also check us out on iTunes as well as iHeartRadio. We appreciate everybody that streams our shows. And we want to welcome y'all to our virtual Let's Chat interview process that we're going to be doing, you guys. So if you want to be a a guest on the show, if you want to do Let's Chat Live, Let's Chat Live is a fee. So our radio show is free. That's our free platform. We never charge people for the radio show, only because when people don't know who you are, your personality becomes part of your branding. It becomes part of your packaging, especially as authors. You know, you have your eye candy, your cover, your synopsis, your title, even the way the colors on your book flow, the way your name sits on the front. That's all part of the packaging. And then when people don't know you, your personality becomes part of that packaging too.
Right.
And so we love to be able to have those individuals on our shows. We've had fabulous individuals. It's expanded so much. We've been doing this for 7 years.
I know.
We've had Keith Robinson on. We've had Bunny DeBarge on. We've had all kinds of authors and radio hosts and CEOs and music producers and it's just been awesome. It has been so very awesome. This path and experience that we have had. So Let's Chat Live. It's going to be $10. So if you want to be a Let's Chat Live guest, no worries. Just send your request to the Chat Radio Show at gmail.com in the
comments in the
subject box. Make sure you put Let's Chat Live, and if you want to do radio, just do Let's Chat radio, so that I'll just know which one that you want to do. Again, the radio show is always free. We love music. Shout out to everybody that sends us free music. Shout out to EP Pope. He has an album coming out, and he has sent us some music from his album that has not even been out as of yet. So I appreciate him for that. Keith Robinson sent us some of his new music. So shout out to Keith Robinson. We appreciate him for that. Cream sent us his new music. We're actually going to have him and Blue Marley on. They have a new song out. So I'm just really excited and I'm really grateful. And we thank you guys for always just kind of supporting everything that we do here on Let's Chat.
Absolutely. And Leash, we know we have new eyes on us, but just to give you guys a little snapshot as to what we do, Leash and I, like she said, we started the show about 7 years ago, and we started off celebrating literature, but our show has evolved so much that we just celebrate the dopeness of all the arts, and the only way we know how to do it is the royal way, no matter what it may be. Like Leash said, we've had lawyers, actors, producers, musical artists, CEOs. They've all come through the doors of Let's Chat, and we just celebrate them and appreciate all of them. Now, our show allows our guests as well as our listeners to interact in the fun, friendly, and intimate environment. We get to hear the passion at what they do, like we just had with Miss Tunisha Brown. We so appreciate her. But you heard her passion and what it is that she does.
Yes.
From when she was growing up, we feel that passion. You feel that passion. And we love bringing it all together here on Let's Chat so that you can experience it as well as Lissha and I. So that's what Let's Chat is based on. That's how it was birthed. So we appreciate everyone that has joined us. So
absolutely. And all of those that have sponsored our show. If you want to be a sponsor for Let's Chat, we welcome all sponsors. We welcome music. We just welcome people. We appreciate everybody that has embraced us and embraced our platform. And we're moving forward and we're doing things to take our brand, because we are both two separate brands that have come together to make one brand. And so we appreciate all of the support. We have our next fabulous guest on. This author here, I met her a couple of years ago at an event that I went to in West Virginia.
Okay.
And she is, let me tell y'all, she is a multicultural romance author. But her pen is everything. Her personality is like the cherry on top. So we have the fabulous Michel Prince. Welcome.
Hi.
Hello. Making me get all dressed up and stuff.
Hey. How are you? How was your day?
Oh, it's good. Working through stuff. Had to make a few runs, the whistle of the volunteer for whatever you call it for Hunger Games, volunteer tribute, get out there. But yeah, no, it's been a good day.
Absolutely. So, Karen, let's chat. We want you to tell everybody a little bit about yourself and your literary journey.
Oh, well, let's see. I've been published. I just had my 8-year anniversary for being published.
Congrats.
Thanks. I started with kind of a YA type paranormal and ended up working into some contemporaries. And that's kind of where I'm at now. I'm like 40 plus books in and a lot of series because I'm kind of a series whore because I don't like to let characters go. So it's like, oh, I'll do one book and then 4 books later because, who doesn't want the side characters, right?
Right. Everybody talks. Everybody got something to say. So it's like, wait a minute. Oh, you want your own book too?
Basically, yeah. There's been quite a few of those, and I just gave up even trying. I started just putting the side characters in because I know they're going to get their story.
Absolutely. And what has your writing process been like? How has your craft changed from the very first time you've written your book to now 42 books in?
Oh, well, I started just going full steam ahead, just writing and throwing everything down. And if I got stuck, I would jump ahead and then bring it all together. And now I'm not as much of a pantser. I kind of look a little bit more ahead in the book. I actually create boards now that have, I work on, like I said, with my series, a lot of times outside of my very first series where I knew the beginning and the end and what I wanted kind of in between, although it didn't end that way because they never do. I kind of just, I try to at least look a few books ahead now. And I assume that every time I try to think, oh, I'm only going to have one book and it's going to be a standalone, very rarely does that happen. So I just started plotting out a lot more and kind of looking at things and making sure I'm hitting the important, there's like the rule of 3, these other things. I don't necessarily always hit those, but but the only thing that stayed the same is I kind of still have the same type of heroines, kind of same type of heroes.
Absolutely. So what made you write interracial, multicultural type books?
Well, I was looking for something for myself because I've been married for 22 years next month. Yeah, 22 years at the end of this month. And when I would look, I could never find my husband there. I couldn't find his family there. There was always a negative thing, especially with the Black heroes. And I wanted something positive because I have a son and he never saw that when he would be reading, if he was reading Percy Jackson or any of the books that Diary of the Wimpy Kid or anything, he couldn't find those either. So I wanted him to know that he made fun of me with my first book. You can't call a Black man Oscar. And I'm like, your dad's name is Reginald. Don't tell me Black men don't have old man names. I can call him whatever I want to call him, And I said, no, with the old man names, I tend to find, some good men. So it's just okay. It's okay. So, but that's
But do you stop, Michelle? This is Toni. With that being said, do you find that your stories are plot driven or character driven? How do you differentiate between the two?
So I do a lot of contemporaries. I don't necessarily do as many mysteries, which I'm getting into mysteries a little bit more. It's a lot more character driven because that's kind of how it is with the family. It's a family situation. It's something like that. But now that with like my MC series, which I'm wearing my MC shirt, how do you ride and steal MC? That one is a lot more plot driven because we have our characters that have to have their moment. But we have to have an arc to get people through because it's a lot more. It's a lot more in the heart, and they have to have the good guy and the bad guy, and where you don't necessarily have to. With a lot of my earlier books, that wasn't as much the case. It was more about the family and creating that situation.
Okay.
And I want to go back. I want to go back to when you first decided to write the book. A lot of times, I don't know if you were listening to our other interview, but a lot of times we pay attention to how we speak and treat other people, but we don't pay as much attention to how we speak to ourselves and how we treat ourselves. And so a lot of times we have a thought to do something and we never go through with that particular thought. We give our own self excuses on why we can't do something right now.
Right.
So I want to know, what was your goal moment like? Your goal moment is that moment in life where your thought and your execution come together and you make that motion to publish yourself. What was that process like for you?
It was kind of because I used to work night shift in the emergency room, and I was a secretary. They call them health unit coordinators, and we either were slammed or had nothing. And I kept writing on this notebook pad something, and I didn't even know what it was. It was just kind of this vision of this girl jumping off a bridge and whatever. And then I read the Twilight books, and I got very frustrated because I got all the way through and she closed the door, and a couple other reasons why I was frustrated. And I kind of started thinking about that girl jumping off the bridge, and I just went. And it was supposed to be a quick flashback to in high school when she met the guy. Well, that prologue moved to the third book because the first book got too long because I didn't know what was going on. And I finally was like, well, I'm at about 90,000 words. I haven't finished this. And I looked and I was like, how long is the book supposed to be? Because I don't, a lot of people, when they're readers, they look at how many pages is it? Mm-hmm. And I try to tell them that's a formatting thing. Mm-hmm. I have books that are almost the exact same size as my novellas because I formatted them with smaller print. Right. So this one has 70,000, this one has 30,000. So I didn't, at the time I wasn't thinking in word count. And I looked it up. I'm like, oh, I'm way past where I'm supposed to be for word counts. Mm-hmm. So I guess I'm going to have to go and split this up. And because I had no idea. And that's kind of how it went. And that first book came out really, really fast, mm-hmm. very poor and ugly. And I sent it through quite a few editors and did quite a few things. And like I said, the prologue moved to the third book. So I kept going with this girl's story. Mm-hmm. And it ended up being 4 books. And I had that all done. And then I was just working on getting an agent and working on getting somebody to publish it. And I was just sending out queries. And my husband said, just keep writing. Because he said Stephen King had at least 25 books when he first got his first contract. Mm-hmm. So just keep writing books. Because if you keep looking at that one, you're going to hate it. Right. And you're going to over edit it. Mm-hmm. So I stopped editing it. I kind of just let it sit. I made sure that the first 3 chapters were pretty. And I ended up getting a publisher for that. But by that time, I had already started a second series that was more adult, and I was working on that, and I was already a couple books in. Mm-hmm. And so then when my publisher got me, they got that. And then it just kind of happened that I started taking on pretty much every writing challenge anyone gave me. Mm-hmm. That was kind of what happened, because there was a website called WeBook back then, and it was one where you'd put up your first page and people would vote on it. And if they liked it, then you had to put up 5 pages. Then mm-hmm. I think it was a chapter, and then it was 50 pages. And if you got past that, you put the whole book up and they publish it. Okay. But in the side little chat things, we'd have challenges, and I would take on almost every challenge I could. And that's where I got way too many books, because I just sent Lissa a picture of my 4 boards that are currently what's in my head that still need to be written that I've just thought about. Mm-hmm. And she's like, what? I'm like, yeah, but and that's where I'm at. So I always have those extra stories. I know I just write things down as I'm going, and then I just kind of get to one and focus. Now.
I love it. I love it. So when you are sitting down, you're creating your characters. What are some of the quirky things that you do, things that you have to have around you when you're creating?
I have the weirdest playlist. I'm going to say that. There's like opera, like old school, Italian opera. And then there's silly things like Gas Pedal. And then it goes to some, great Warrant hits like Cherry Pie. And, I just have the weirdest, because I just need that. It jumps around. And when I'm writing a scene and it hits the song at the right time, I'm just like, I know it's going to be a good one. But I do, because I have such a random one. I mean, it will go from country to hip hop to, songs from Rent. It's just what it is. So that's kind of what I have. I usually have a Dr. Pepper. I try to be good with water. But, no.
Now you do an event every year. Tell us a little bit about your event.
It's Royal Readers. This will be our second year at the Mall of America. I worked my way into there, and because a lot of people do the hotels, I was actually able to get us inside. So we're actually inside the mall, which is really cool. We have a charity auction that goes for Quest. It's KWST, but it's pronounced Quest. And that is a charity that it's a nonprofit my husband works with, and it's to get mostly Black male students, just because they're the highest rate of EBD students, but Minnesota is actually ranked really, really high for EBD students. So it's to get them off of that label and for kids that need it, because they're over labeled. So it's kids, they work with the family, and they work with the school, they work with the teachers, and they work with the kids. They do a 3-pronged approach to get these kids off that label so they can actually graduate, because they don't really explain that when you're on this label, you don't get to graduate high school, you get a certificate of completion, which is not acceptable anywhere. And it's these things so that's what we raise money for. And we have over 50 authors there. And the cool thing is we have authors from everywhere. So this year we have Nancy Nagel, who is with Hallmark and a couple other big names. We have Liz Selvig, who's with Avon. But then we also have the indie books like Dahlia Rose, and we have some kids books. Pamela Crump has some middle grader books, and she's amazing. And Gingerly, and we just have a really good mix of authors at all levels. We have mystery, we have children's books, we have hot and sexy, we have Close the Door, sweet. We have Harlequin, like Cat Shield is with Harlequin. So we have big authors, but we have a lot of indie authors there too. So it's nice because you get that mix with it. And you also get to do it in the middle of an amusement park in the biggest mall in the country. So
absolutely. So when you first decided to do it, what was that process like for you putting that event together?
Well, the first one was at a smaller mall, and we were in a vestibule, and we're like Santa or the Easter Bunny is, and it was fine, and we had a lot of traffic, and it's kind of cheating in a way, because you don't have to do as much advertising because you have automatic mall traffic. So you have people that are coming for the authors, and then we have the auto traffic, and then they kind of changed their policy, and I was like, we're going to try it for the Mall of America. And I tried the big vestibule there, and that was not going to happen. But I was able to get a spot that's inside Nickelodeon Universe, and we're right on the pathway. And so for that, I begged my friends. I said, I can't do this without your help. And I have 8 friends that are kind of like on a committee, and they help me, and they do it for free. Well, they do it for me giving them a free goodies out the year is what they do it for, because that's all I can afford. And my goal is to kind of just break even with it, and to introduce people to my models, because I also do photography. So I try to have a few of my models come through and meet the authors and kind of get to know them, and that's always fun.
I love it.
No, I want to go back, Michelle. This is Toni. I want to go back to your books because you're an interracial romance writer. So what message do you want your readers to come away from, and how do you feel the reception is? So is there a message that you want your readers to gain from your books?
Well, my biggest thing with my books is I have heroines that don't need their hero, but they want them. I think there's too many books out there where it's this, oh my God, if he leaves me, I'll die. And I don't want women to think that. You can move on. It sucks. He's the guy you really wanted, but that was a want. It wasn't a need. Your heart is not going to stop. You're not going to stop breathing. You still can go to work. You don't have to shut down for however many months. So that's one of my biggest things. I want the women to realize, you know what, it's okay. And so there's that. So I although I have alpha type men, they don't completely dominate the women. And the women have their own power and all that stuff, and they usually help each other. And that's like, from my very first book, it was all about balance. And that was the thing. They needed to be together because it was paranormal, so there was a little bit of need to be together for them to really be whole, and for them to find all their true power was they needed to be together. From that standpoint, there was a little need, but when he died, she didn't completely just get destroyed.
Right.
he didn't die, but he did. Anyway. It's been out for 8 years. If you haven't read it by now, anyway. He didn't. It's like one of those. I tricked you. I lied. Said he died. Anyway, but she didn't completely shut down. But she's stronger with him is kind of what I go for. As far as reception, I also write AA. I write interracial in both directions or multiple directions because I actually have some Hispanic heroes, and it just depends. There's no consistency with it. I found, I do know that my Black women with white men sell way better than my other ones. And I just kind of keep plugging away with my other ones. My husband's always like, well, if you turn this one into white characters, you'd sell more. And I'm like, then I'd be giving up. It's kind of how I look at it. I'm not just going to give up. I'm just going to keep going. And whenever it hits, and it'll happen. But
I love it. Absolutely. And I want to talk a little bit about that, because when you are creating and you are pushing yourself forward to do this vision that you have, and you're trying to manifest all of these things, we tend to settle sometimes in what we're doing, because we say, okay, well, I got this far. It's like saying I want 10,000, but I'm gonna settle for 5. How do you help yourself? I know you have your husband that's able to help you to balance all of those things out, but how do you push yourself forward so that you aren't, I call it hovering, and just hovering in this particular area, but you're able to just say, okay, let me keep going. Where does that come from for you?
Well, there's usually brownies to get you through like edits and other bad times. You get the brownies out. But no, you have to have those down days. If you're an author and you haven't given up at least 50 times, I'm not really sure if you're really an author, because you will seriously look at the book, you'll look at everything, you'll be like, this is horrible. My son actually helped me when he was like about 13 or 14. He totally doesn't remember this, but I was sitting there looking at my laptop, like ready to just cry because the story was horrible. Is the worst thing I've ever written. It's so disgusting, and that's kind of why I told him. I said, it's just a terrible story. He's like, oh, then everybody will love it. Every time you hate it, everybody loves it. And I'm like, so now every time I really want to hate the story by the end of it. Because the little brat was right, And so I kind of get, if you don't hate your story, if I don't hate my story by the end of it, I mean, I'm really expecting Stalked to be amazing, because I totally can't stand that story at this point. And I love them later, but by the time I'm through with, I'm just like, I hate it. And I was telling him, it's horrible. Nobody's gonna like it. It's the worst thing ever. And he's they'll all love it. And he was right on that story. That's at least. So that's kind of what I shoot for, to get me through those hard times. But yeah, you just kind of, you have to make a decision on what you're willing to settle on. Especially with my first book, I had a lot of publishers that wanted me to up the racial tension, and that wasn't what the story was about. Actually, book 2 was where that part of the story was. Right. It wasn't in book 1. Book 1, it's called Chrysalis. They were in a cocoon. All they cared about was each other. They didn't really, they blocked out as much as they could of anything negative, because they just wanted to focus on on their relationship and where they were at. And so I kind of put my foot down on that. I was like, I'm not gonna throw that in. It's kind of like with Stalked. Sorry, people, there's no sex in it. There's a lot of teasing, but it just did not work with the story. And I kept going back and forth. Should I put a sex scene? And it literally would have been like a sore thumb. Just, oh, here, by the way, insert sex scene here, because there wasn't a place for it in there that would have been natural. Right. And so as long as I I don't just stick stuff in there just to stick it in there, I think, I think people are happier with the story in the long run, because when you've read a book where someone's like, oh, I forgot to add that, let me throw that in.
We actually talked about that yesterday. We talked about how, as a reader, your pen, how they say eyes are the gateway to someone's soul. Okay. Well, in literature, as a reader, your pen is the gateway to the soul. And so a reader can see literally the naked soul of an author. We can see if you have not come to terms emotionally with certain things, if you're emotionally disconnected, if you have not researched, if you have ran out of a thought on something, if you overthink something, all of that comes out if you're not prepared, if you're not organized. It all comes out in your pen, and we can see it as readers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so it's I'm glad that you said that, because that we talked about that yesterday when we did our practice live, but we always talk about it on our show, because it's very important that authors know your readers can see you. Like,
Oh yeah, my biggest
we can see you.
compliment is when Bridget Midway, because she's read a couple ones, but she puts, I always know that this is accurate because I know Michelle researched it. Like, she believes everything, because she's like, I look into what she puts in there because I know she, you know, I put in a thing about how to make a heater for a house out of a plant, you know, terracotta plant and a tea light, because I was a Boy Scout for a while. So, you know, I mean, like, she's like, I know she researched this. I know she went to the rodeo to find out how they did this. And I'm like, yes, yes, I do as much research as I can. I will sit there and map out how long it takes to get from here to there and what season and all. Yeah, that's.
Mm-hmm. And we feel that as readers, we feel that, and we sense that. So it's real for us.
Yeah,
absolutely. Now, you have tons of accolades. What was it like when you hit the USA Today?
The bestseller, that was really cool because it was a lot of work. Because especially for indie pub people, and that is a ton of work. And I was glad I was doing it with a group, because I just, wow, that was really cool, and it was nice, and it was a good thing. And you know, at some point, hopefully I'll get to New York, but that'll be a different time. But yeah, there's a lot of algorithms that go into that. So I'm so glad there was somebody to lead us down that trail, because trust me, that was not a trail I was ready to go down. But yeah, no, it was really nice to finally hit that and put that on my thing, on my books now. And I make sure that's always on my books, because you know,
why not?
Yeah,
Right. You have to work hard for that. You have to work hard for that. You're going to need people to see that. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you had to drop 5 jewels on a up and coming author, or someone, even an author that is hovering at that point in time in their career where they're frustrated, maybe they want to be signed and they can't get signed, or they're trying to go independent and they're having issues with that, what are some of the jewels based on the things that you have learned that you can drop on them during that process in their career?
The biggest thing is to keep your voice real. Don't substitute somebody else's in there. Don't, like I said, when it comes to just sticking something in there, it's kind of one of the things I think right now, especially with like TV and movies and stuff, a lot of times they're just throwing the gay person in there to make sure they've checked all the boxes. Okay, we went from just having the black friend, now we have to have the black friend, the Chinese friend, and the gay friend, and we make sure we stick them in there, but there's no backstory with them. Mm-hmm. There's nothing, they're just in there. And even those side characters, and could be why I end up with so many series, the side characters have to have a reason why they're there. Mm-hmm. Don't just stick them in there. Yeah. So that would be, and the only way you can do that is if you stay true to your voice and you back up everything you have. So that'd be one. And kind of two is research. Now, it's a very deep rabbit hole you will fall down, but find your good research places and keep them. Viking Lady, because I still am hoping to do this one Scandinavian thing, but VikingLady.com is awesome because she answers all your questions about ancient Scandinavia. It's pretty cool. But you know, find your little spots that when you're doing stuff, so that you can have your research and have it done right, because nothing will make me throw a book farther across a room than if you just put something stupid about football in there. It will go flying across the room. And I'm like, I could give this book away, but I don't want anybody else to read it and think that this is what's really going to happen. So definitely do your research, go through your stuff, make sure you're, you know, and if it's something you're like, oh no, I'm absolutely 100% sure. I am 100% sure about a lot of stuff. And I still go back and research it. Because absolutely. You know what, there's a lot in here going on, and oh wait, that wasn't that, it was this. So right. Definitely do that. Always get your tribe together. I definitely have a tribe of people. Like I said, I have my people that help me with Royal Readers. I have my writing tribe. I have my people that I go to when I'm just like, I am stuck. Or I can send a blurb to. And we send blurbs back and forth because they are the devil's playthings, along with commas, the two evil things in the world. But, so get your tribe together. So that's what, 3.3. Okay, so, and don't just talk about it. Everybody says they're going to write a novel. If you've actually put words to the paper, keep going. Don't stop. I have so many people that are like, oh, I just need to write a novel. I just don't even know where to start. And I said, well, there's the old one, Once Upon a Time.
Pick one.
Pick one. Go for it. And learn from whoever you can learn from. Anybody, a lot of authors are really open to talking to you. And, gauge, just like with everything else, gauge how far you can go with them, but definitely talk to other people. They're willing to. I signed up for master class because I saw Judy Blume had a class and I'm like, hello, my hero. So, I'm like, I'm such a Judy Blume fan. It's not even funny. So I was like, oh, I'm going to learn from Judy, and like Dorinda Jones, I may have coordinated so that she would come and teach at my local RWA meeting, for our big fall festival. You find your way into the ones that you really want to talk to, and even, anybody that you like, and you'd be surprised how many authors will actually respond. There are some that won't. Good for them. I understand, but a lot of authors are willing to help you, whether, even though you're like, I'm nobody, I'm nothing. I'm like, trust me, they feel the same way. You must say this, like, I don't know. It's like somebody's like, oh my God, I read your book. I'm like, you were the one. Awesome. You're my hero now. So
I love it. Well, here on Let's Chat, we love to be able to spotlight and highlight our guests and just the dimensions and all things around them. And so we always do a fun question. And so T always comes up with our fun questions. And so T, I'm ready.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Michelle, for joining us tonight, in this crazy time that we're in. But, I'm really interested in the group of boys that you and your husband, do things for. But if you were having a dinner and you can invite 5 influential people that can help them or even uplift them, who would they be and why?
Oh, the boys?
Yes, for the boys.
Do they have to be alive?
Nope.
Alive or dead?
Okay, because I have to say Kobe. Because he's always been a part of my son's life. Not like actually, trust me. No, but he has been kind of a benchmark and something that we've always kind of shown him. Like, I don't want to hear that man speaks 5 languages. And just because, don't tell me you can't get your grades right. I'm sorry, Kobe had a 3, so he's always kind of been, and the way, and he's a researcher. So of course, I think that's important for all these kids to realize, he just did it to do it. And he works so hard all the time, all the time. I can't remember his name. My husband met him. He's in charge of the Harlem Children's Zone, which is actually what it kind of helped inspire my husband a little bit. And that one is one that ended up being funded by President Obama. He increased the graduation rate in Harlem. He worked with, and he did kind of a similar thing where you work with the whole family, get them through counseling. I mean, because that's one thing, like with Quest, they actually get people through, they'll sign you up with counselors and get the whole family in there, because there's never just one person that needs a little help.
Right.
There's always
more than one.
That's right. Everybody in this house is having, trust me, in my house, everyone in this house could use someone to talk to. So that would be, I would have him talk. I can't remember his name. My husband can name him right away.
Okay.
I think Bill Gates, I really do, just because he would be someone, although he didn't graduate, he found ways, at least got through high school, went a little college. He found
Yep.
ways to make what he needed to make the way he wanted to do it.
Mhm.
And I've heard a few different ones of his speeches, and I think that's a really important thing. I'd probably throw Warren Buffett in there because
Right, listen.
generational wealth and all of that.
Mhm.
That's him. Give them that, you know.
And
So we have the hard work ethic. We have the one who focuses on education with Kobe. Then we have the focus on education with the Harlem Children's Zone. Let's see, we have Bill Gates who just built it from nothing, and
Mhm.
Warren Buffett to tell him when to sell and when not to sell, and what to invest in. You know, because it's not something you think about. And you know, I probably throw Dave Chappelle in there because dang, we want to have fun at this party.
Wow. That's what you know him first, Michelle Leash. I don't think we've ever had Bill Gates invited nor Dave Chappelle. So these are
No.
first-time
Or
invited.
Warren Buffett. Look, and they all at the same party.
They're all at the same party. I think I had a very
Those are the first time invites.
yes. They need to come to the party. Because if they're doing it for these kids, absolutely now that's different than me doing it for myself.
That's a good eclectic type of group you got going there.
Yeah. But that, you know, there's more to a kid than one thing. There's more to the kid than him being a basketball player. There's more to, exactly. There are so many levels to every human being, and that's what they need to learn.
That's a good party. I think I want to be at that dinner table.
I love it. I love it. We so appreciate you coming to kick it with us here on Let's Chat Live with all of our fabulous people that are streaming with us. We want you to shout out all of your social media, when your next book is going to be released, if it hasn't already been released, at any virtual events you have coming up.
Okay, well, my social media. Okay, so first things first, I was born before spell check, so my name is spelled Michel. So it's Michelle Prince Books on Facebook. It's also Michelle Prince Books on Instagram, and then Michelle Prince 1. But remember, I'm born before spell check, so that's kind of, you know, I think I have a few other accounts. I don't know because I'm kind of more of a Facebook person than anything. And I have little private groups that are for my super readers, that's the Royals, and then I also have the Steel MC has its own group, and we share lots of pretty pictures in there and ask opinions. Would you like this guy or that guy? This or that, you know. And I got a really nice brochure of our current one, which is Onyx that we're writing. But technically, I do have it's a re-release because my publisher had closed, and I'm slowly re-releasing books. Encroachment comes out on Tuesday next week, so it's a re-release. That's AA. Lily is a cardiothoracic surgeon. Oh, one other jewel. Never limit your characters. I get tired of people telling me my character can't do this. I don't care where she came from or who she was. She's a cardiothoracic surgeon because that's what she is.
Good one.
Much like Oscar was an Eagle Scout. So it's like, don't tell me I can't limit my character. I can limit my characters. And Declan. And then that's a football one because, hello, we have no sports. So definitely pick up that one. And then for IRAE, which got canceled, we had to do a fantasy. So I did Stalked, which is a very twisted retelling of Jack and the Beanstalk, which I had to change because Jack's a jerk in Jack and the Beanstalk. So I had to really twist it around. And there might be more than one. You can see the Jack and the Beanstalk in it because I'm starting a fairy tale series. But you might see a couple other characters that are kind of intertwined in there too. So yeah, that's
awesome.
That's gonna be on the 21st. Yeah.
Okay.
I love it. I love it. Well, we so appreciate you coming to kick it with us. You are welcome back anytime.
Anytime you want me. I'm usually having a release. It seems like, I don't know. It's crazy.
We know you are busy. You're always writing. You got a whole family. Thank you for taking time to come and kick it with us.
Thanks for having me.
You are so very welcome.
Enjoy
your
time.
Yep.
Oh my God, this is great, T. This for our first Let's Chat Live. In this format, this style, we had some great guests today. if you guys are just tuning in, no worries. You can always check out our lives here on our Facebook page, Let's Chat, as well as our Instagram. Facebook announced that Instagram is going to be coming to be able to be seen like we see Facebook. So hey, I'm just saying, but yeah, our YouTube page.
More homework you're giving me.
But yes, our YouTube page, we welcome you guys. We thank you guys for coming to kick it with us. And we have a show on next Thursday that will be on Blog Talk. And that will be a regular radio show. We hope to see you guys there. Again, if you want to be a guest, no worries. Just send your request to letschatradio@gmail.com. Toni or I will be glad to be able to send you some dates. And that's it.
Thanks for hanging with us. It came through. We did it, Leash.
Yes, absolutely. And this is going to be the first of many. Listen, yesterday, y'all kind of showed out. Y'all showed up and showed out. It was, when I say
test,
that was just a test, right? I mean, 79 of y'all folk and 200 visits. I mean, thank y'all so very much. We appreciate you guys. Shout out to everybody that streams our show. Thank you so very much. Our replays are off the chain. We thank you guys. And they're off the chain worldwide. You know, we have listeners in Canada, we have listeners in Venezuela, and we just really appreciate being able to have that and be that exposure and experience to so many. And we thank you guys so very much. We will see you guys on next Thursday
on Blog Talk Radio. See you then.
See y'all then.